Often do you regularly take your photos of flowers, fauna, plants, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to start with. I don't know what to do. First of all, take a deep breath. Second of all, I don't know if you're a little bit of a coffee drinker. Personally, I am. Ooh, got some in the eye. So, some of the most important things that we're going to need to be dealing with when we're shooting fauna photography. Two things. We want to make sure our detail is high. We want to make sure that our colors are evenly represented. We don't want one part super bright and blown out while the other part is super dark and not getting the full potential of the color and detail that it can. So here we are right now. We're looking at this super awesome image. A little bit up. I want to see a little bit of the brightness coming out. And we're going to modify the contrast because we want it to be super punchy and super Instagram ready. Image is going to be messing with the highlights a little bit just because there's so much brightness going on in this image. We're not overexposed, and that's exactly where we want to be. We're just getting nice little pieces of light kind of catching the edge of the petals, which is going to be super awesome for when we want to add lots of good detail adding tools. I mess with the highlights because I want to bring that center down just a tad bit. Those shadows in the background, we can bring them down because honestly, it's kind of nice to make it so it's super dark in the background. It shows off those edges just a little bit better. Even though our edge is just a tad bit out of focus, we're still able to get a nice clean image because the main part of the image is in focus. I'm just gonna bring this back down low just a tad bit. No real need to mess around with the temp or anything like that. So what we're gonna go ahead and do now is jump over to, obviously we're gonna be focusing on our red, oranges, and our yellows and a little bit of the greens. Everything else is gonna be kind of tertiary to what we're trying to work on. So for this, we want our luminance to be just a little bit brighter and bring that saturation down just a tad bit. Deep color kind of pop out against that white and that yellow. Just a little bit orange because we do have a little flecks of orange in there when you're looking at parts of the image. Yeah, I know. Super high resolution, right? With this yellow, I think I'm going to bring it in, get a little bit of this orangeness because if we go towards this green, we're now starting to get like, oh, it looks like it's getting blown out. It's not necessarily clipping, but it just, there's something that you can just tell that there's something wrong with this. It's going to nicely blend everything together. Okay, so with our midtones, we want those to be just a little bit dark. And so I'm going to go for blue just because it's a counteractive towards the red and the yellow. It's on the opposite side of the color wheel. We like to be complementary when we're modifying our colors. And so now we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of texture. This is going to bring out some good detail for us, a little bit of clarity that's going to bring some of those darker parts of the screen, as you can see up in here, bringing that clarity up just a little bit. It's just going to define it a little bit better. And then of course we're going to add just a tiny bit of Dehaze. It's going to bring that background a little bit darker, and we're going to be bringing the foreground image to be just a little bit sharper. As well as when you're working with wildlife photography, fauna photography is in a similar way where using a vignette can actually add to the image instead of when we're working with a landscape, unless there's a really solid object within this image. Vignetting is going to be kind of strange. I'm going to be adding a little bit of vignetting just to bring up the corners of the screen to darken up a little bit because it's going to help us show off this super cool flower, all this awesome detail right here. And so, oh my gosh, yeah, running on low power, what can I say? And so for this, with a vignetting, I'm gonna mess with the feathering just a tad bit, and then we're gonna mess around a little bit with the highlights. We're gonna add just a tiny bit of grain to it, sharpen it up just a tad bit more, and that's honestly a pretty solid image. So we're getting lots of really cool, neat detail. I mean, we can see the veins up in here with this image, and we're getting little bits that are kind of out of focus, but our main plume, the actual center piece that you're looking at for this image when you're looking at all of it, It's clear, it's popping, and we've learned how to achieve all of that. So if you enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like. Check out my Instagram, KeeganRuss Media. I'm going to be trying to give out as much awesome material, awesome content to help you learn how to increase your overall experience when you're editing your photos. Trying to break it down, trying to make it simple, trying to make it easy, and trying to make it concise. Because at the end of the day, there's no point spending a crazy amount of time on an image when you're only getting that 2% return increase in the overall image quality, right? Some people, whatever. Yeah, take your time in any type of way, but we're rocking it out super simple. I hope you have a good rest of your day.